Welcome back, y'all. It's another Wednesday Walk with your girl, Rena Speaks, where our focus is always to inspire, motivate, and celebrate you to your next level of success. I got a good Wednesday word of knowledge for you today. I'm ready to get right into it. Your Wednesday word of knowledge for this week says this. They say insanity is doing the same thing, expecting different results. You teach people how to treat you. So in 2024, set your standard and stick to it. You know that's good. In 2024, what I need you to do is set your standard and stick to it. So, always got to tell you how certain things come about. And God always, always, always blesses me and gives me a word to understand before I go through a situation. So kudos. Thank you, God. He never leaves us ignorant. He will always allow us the opportunity to understand something before we actually go through situations. And sometimes we don't pay attention, but if you're paying attention, you will realize sometime maybe after the situation happens that you were prepared for it. So I'm always excited to share with you all how, as people that are full of faith, how we respond to challenges, how we respond to adversity, how we keep our cap on tight. Okay. Because a lot of times people would expect us to respond in different ways than what we actually do. And sometimes people will take your kindness as weakness until they realize that it's really a strength, that I didn't fly off the handle, that I didn't put hands on you, right? You're not going to get that kind of reaction out of me because I know who I am. I know my value. I know my worth. And I also know that there's nothing worth taking me out of character and bringing me to a low place. Yep. I know who I am. You got to know who you are. And that's when you will know and understand how to respond to certain challenges, to certain adversity in situations. This Wednesday word of knowledge can go so many different ways and be applied to so many different situations. This can be applied to your personal relationships with friends. This can be applied to your family, immediate family or extended family. This can be applied to business and business relationships. This can be applied to your church members. It don't matter. It does not matter. You teach people how to treat you. And the more you allow, a lot of times, the more they will expect from you. That is so good. The more you allow out of the kindness of your heart, the more they will expect from you. But a lot of times we put ourselves in a situation to be hurt, to have our feelings hurt. A lot of times we put ourselves in a situation to become overwhelmed. Because we do so much sometimes until the expectation is there, but the appreciation is not there anymore because it's expected of you. Isn't that something? And so you find yourself in a position to where you're not even doing for yourself, but you're doing for somebody else. And there's no appreciation. And you're in a situation where you hurt now, but it's your own fault. My God, from Zion, it's your own fault. Sometimes you can be too nice. Sometimes you can be too giving. Sometimes you can handicap other people. And I have said this in now 2 of my, I don't call them books, I call them lifestyle manuals. But on my website, renaspeaks.com, you can find BFF for life. And that's balancing faith and family for life. And I talk about this very thing. And that was 5 years ago I wrote that book. And then my new book gets a little bit more personal, and it's called Built for This. I don't have the print copies available just yet for that, but you can download it from Barnes and Nobles. It's called Built for This, The Capacity of a Woman. So anyway, I talk about this very thing in both of those lifestyle manuals. And the reason why I talk about it is because it's something that I deal with. And I know that I'm not the only one that deals with this, because a woman's nature is to nurture, is to care for, and to make ourselves available. That's a woman's nature. And so sometimes we don't know when to back off. And that's where I think the whole self-care evolution came in, because a lot of us women, we don't know when to back off. And a lot of us were not caring for ourselves while we were caring for everybody else, especially during the pandemic and different things that were going on. We realized that we were overwhelmed. We were not caring for ourselves as women. And so I think that's where the whole self-care movement came from. But I think it was amazing. It was great because it opened our eyes to see and understand that we can't put everything and everyone before ourselves, because if you are not happy and you are not whole, you are no good to anybody else. So anyway, I don't know where that whole spill came from. That's not where this was supposed to go, the direction this was supposed to go in, but maybe somebody needed to hear that. So, there it is. All right. But getting back to our Wednesday walk and talking about how all these different relationships can come into play when I say you teach people how to treat you. This all came about for me. It's been a thing, but I just had a challenge recently with one of my sons. And when I tell you it's the hardest thing for a mother to sometimes reprimand adult children, because it's that thin line between saying what you need to say in the way that you need to say it as responding to a young adult and a child, right? It's your child, but you're also wanting to respect them as a young adult and teaching them how to communicate maturely. And there's some things sometimes that is so hard to say because of that thin line, right? But you have to say it because we cannot handicap them. And I've always told my kids, it's my job to make sure that when I leave here, you know how to stand on your own 2 feet. I don't want you to be no bum in nobody's street. I don't want you to let nobody take advantage of you. And I want you to know what you're doing and how to live, how to make things happen, how to survive, but ultimately how to be successful as well. And so we have to have some hard conversations, because for children or young adults who have never experienced not having, and they've always had their parents there, sometimes they don't understand that life situations can be tough, right? And when you've always been there and you've always been in their corner, when it's time to kind of pull away, it's not so easy. I hope this is making sense to some of you all that have been in this situation. And it's not a horrible situation. It's just growing pains. It's just allowing them to grow up, allowing them to fly the coop, and you being okay with it, But sometimes those hard situations will put you in a vulnerable position to where you're really at a stuck point sometimes of what to say and how to say it. And yesterday I had one of those tough conversations and I had to say, figure it out. And as a mom, that was not an easy thing for me to do, but I tried to say it as lovingly as I could. And make sure that he understood. I'm not saying that I'm not going to help you. I'm not saying that, you're on your own. What I'm saying is I want you to use the wisdom that I've given you, the wisdom that God has given you, because I know that you know how to pray, and I know that you know how to seek wisdom for different things in different situations. I want you to use that. And I have to be in a position to where I trust that my parenting was done well, because now I have to actually see what you're made of. And I understand from different points of view, right? I understand from some of the young adults too. I've seen different things trending on social media. My mama don't care about me, and I can't believe such and such and such, and different things. And I hear a lot of that. And I understand that there are some parents that are only, after the bag their entire life. They have these children, but their children are not their first priority. The money is. And I understand that some people deal with that, but then I also understand from a parent's point of view, when you sacrifice so much and your children don't really understand what you sacrifice, because you haven't told them really what you sacrificed. And so they don't really understand the extent that you went to make sure that they had, and to make sure that, they were set up for success for their future. A lot of times they don't understand that sacrifice. And we don't put that burden on them as parents. And so that's why they don't understand, because they don't know what you gave up or what you sacrificed in order to make sure that they had the best of opportunities, right? So the whole point to the Wednesday walk is, in 2024, set your standard. It doesn't matter who it's with. You might not even have children. So this message is just not for people that have children. I'm just giving you an example of my situation. And that's what I'm here to do. I'm transparent when I get on here, and I talk about real life situations, right? It's Rena Speaks TV, real life, real talk. And so I can talk about me because I believe that's what God has created me to do, to inspire, to motivate you, and to celebrate you to your next level of success. And we can't get to our next level of success if we're not free in our minds, and in our hearts. And so these are just transparent conversations that can help you to understand that you're not the only one going through something, and also that there is a way to respond. And you got to be okay with the outcome. That's the part that's not necessarily always easy. You got to be okay with the outcome, because it's not always going to be a sweet outcome, right? You might get some backlash. You might get a little backlash, but if you prayed and and understand that you're going in the right direction and you're doing the right thing, then you have to be okay with the outcome. But it'll come back around. It will definitely come back around. Everything is going to work together for your good, right? So I want you to understand that the longer you allow something, the more it will become an expectation. So set the standard now. If it's something that's been hurting you, something that's been bothering you, set the standard now. Set the standard and begin allowing people in your life to understand what's not okay with you, and be okay with the response. Because if you've been doing some things a certain way for so long and it's expected of you, and you cold turkey stop, everybody's not going to want to stick and stay. And you have to be okay with that, because you have to grow. You have to go to the next level of success. You have to better yourself. So you can't let other people make you stay in a place that's not productive for you. I'm trying to say everything that I'm saying real careful, because I'm always wanting to be very careful of my words, and I want to make sure that what I'm saying is understood, always in love, but very direct, right? So I do have a scripture. I went through all of that and I haven't given you your scripture, but your scripture for today is Proverbs 4:23. It says, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. How good is that? We have to make sure that we're guarding our heart. We have to make sure that we're protecting ourselves. And that's the thing. Another thing that I want to say, I'm not telling you to change who you are in order to set your standard. Don't change who you are. If you're this, sweet and giving and kind person, that's absolutely okay. But everybody does not deserve all access. So I'm not telling you to change who you are. What I'm telling you is to protect who you are by all means necessary. Protect who you are by all means necessary. Sow into good ground. Do not cast your pearls before swine. Know where you're sowing your seed, because it should produce a harvest for you. Ooh, this is so good. This is so good. So yeah, that's your scripture for today. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. So I hope this was good. I hope this was freeing for you today. And I hope that you will set your standard. Everything attached to me has to grow up in this season. Everything and everyone attached to me is going to have to grow up in this season. That's my standard. So set your standard. In 2024, set your standard and stick to it. All right, that's it for today. Y'all stay fearless, fabulous, and full of faith. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'm definitely going to have some guests on for this season. I'm going to try to get some of my family on here, so y'all can really meet some of my family as well. We live by faith, we love hard, and we laugh as much as we can. Yes, we have to have some hard conversations, but I absolutely love and adore my family. So I'm definitely going to have some of them on here coming soon for Rena Speaks TV, real life, real talk. All right. I love y'all, and we will be back next week. Later, y'all.